Good morning and welcome to episode 21 of Debra Quilt Thoughts and Knits Bits. I'm Debra McCracken and I quilt a lot and I knit a little bit. Today is Friday, November 20th, and I thought I would do a quick video to get a few things in before I do my running around prior to buckling down and getting all of the stuff that needs to be ready for people to get their bindings on and get out for Christmas gifts and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be working like a little bunny for the next few weeks, and hopefully I will have everything done that everybody needs, and you know, in 15 years I haven't let anybody down, so fingers crossed. This is not the year for that to happen. Anyway, it was such a long time between episode 19 and episode 20. I had some feedback that people were going into withdrawal, which is so sweet. You know, I miss having that face-to-face interaction for, like, you know, sit down and have a coffee or go and do some sewing together or whatever. When people, thank you Sue, say that they miss me too, it makes me feel really good. So here's a little bit of what I've been working on. Not too much quilting because I've been quilting for other people, but I've been trying to make unicorn hats. I have Frank's daughter has two little girls who would love to have a unicorn hat. And I said last year I was going to make them, and then I said this year again I was going to make them, and I'm still struggling. So this is what happened. So, you know, it looks okay, but it's certainly not a hat that's going to keep anybody warm, because it is a very open, I don't know if that's going to focus for us, very open stitch pattern. It was done on like 15 millimeter or 19, anyway, great big knitting needles. And I held this Kloof Effects by Cascade yarns. I got it out at the bee's knees, and I took my pattern out, which was a free pattern from We Are Knitters, and I should have the picture right here, but I, of course, am so organized as usual that we can count on me. So there was the picture. Anyway, mine didn't come out like that, and when the fabric was so not dense, I decided to try some other patterns. So I did some calculations and tried to knit with their pattern and different needles, and change the number of stitches and do the math, and just using the one yarn that I thought would be awesome, because I got this one, which is multicolored, pink and yellow and a little bit of green, a little bit of blue speckles. I thought, and this was, I did their stitch pattern, and I don't even know what size of needles, I think 5.5, and it's and I had ear flaps on it, but it's like way too small, and my cast on is way too tight, and so not sure what I'm going to do with that. So then I tried again using a different stitch pattern, and this one was, or a different pattern, and this one's okay, but it's really short. So you know, if I put ear flaps on it, maybe it'll work. I don't know, but I managed to use up enough yarn so that when I went to pulled it double. I held it double with the yellow color that I got too. Oh, that's just not there. Okay. Anyway, and then I had somebody tell me what this looks like, and that's all I can see now. So, the unicorn might not happen. Anyway, I tried this pattern from Yarn Inspirations, and it's called the Pandemonium Knit Hat and Mitts. And I just used, I even wrote it down, I think I used a 5.5mm needle and the same yarn, and this was my third attempt, and it comes out like kind of a bonnet, which this would work, but it probably won't fit a 4-year-old, so okay, that's another one. And then I tried the little gnome hat, also by Yarn Inspirations or Bernat, and these are free patterns, by the way. I'm not showing you anybody's stuff that they need to be paid for. And the little gnome hat, I just used, I had this big ball of white worsted, I believe it's worsted, but I think it's more than, I think it's heavier than that, acrylic yarn. And I thought, well, I'll try it and see how I like the pattern and see how it comes out. And I used whatever needles they recommended because I thought that I had the same weight of yarn. So it was a 4mm needle I used on this, and it was so tight to knit that I didn't enjoy it, and it took forever. So I think this is the winner for the hats if I am getting my act together and making some little kids hats for gifts. And I do believe that these may be birthday gifts in February instead of Christmas gifts. That's the way I roll. If you don't know me, if you haven't experienced me putting your gift together on Christmas Day while dinner is cooking, then you don't know me well at all. And it's happened more often than not. Way back in the day, I had a knitting frame, a bond knitting frame, and it was actually a very simple, easy to use piece of equipment, and it made things up like super fast. And I used to be able to buy this yarn at Safeway, something Pop, and it was inexpensive, which I needed at the time, and I would just knit like crazy. And then Christmas morning, everybody got their pieces of their sweaters put together, packed up and wrapped up. And then Christmas Day, I whip stitched everybody's stuff together. So, and you know, that's happened more than once. So, anyway, to keep my mind busy, I am working on another Playdate cardigan. I had purchased this wool for the wool and honey sweater and got it about 3/4 of the way done. I didn't like the way it was working out and looking, so I ripped it out. I had the sleeves on. I was just working on the length, and I just I kept making mistakes, and I didn't like it. So I pulled it all out and restarted this Playdate cardigan. It's got little pockets already. So I've got the one front done, and I'm working my way up the back, and it might get done for Christmas, it might not. It's just something I sit down and work on when I have a break through the day, because I do that. Anyway, so that's about it for knitting. I'm actually going to the Bee's Knees in Summerland this morning. I have promised a Ninja Turtle hat for Christmas, and I will get that done. It is just I found the design on Ravelry, and it's just a little beanie, and it looks like it's got the Ninja Turtle goggle kind of thing, like the bands that they wear, and then white eyes and then black buttons. So I'll have pictures of that next time, I'm sure. And quilting wise, I have just been barreling through lots of customer quilts. If you check out my Facebook page, Debra Quilts Lots, I do a album every month of customer quilts. And so once a customer picks up their quilt, I put pictures that I took of the quilt on there, and I usually can put it up on the wall or lay it out on the bed and get a half decent picture overall, and then get some close-ups. This quilt behind me belongs to Puppin's Quilt Parlor here in Penticton. They have kits for it in the store, and it is called Liberty's Wild Things, is what they've named it. And the fabrics are by Liberty Fabrics. And here's a little bit of the salvage, the Hesketh House Collection. Did I say that right? Hesketh, yes, I did. So, say they have kits to make this, and it is, it's a big lap quilt. It's a nice size quilt, and you can always add on borders and such, and they have more fabric in the store, I'm sure. So I quilted it with a glide. It's called Sienna. It's a coppery colored thread, and it matches like this coppery color in the flowers. I'm not good at this pointing and stuff. Anyway, you can barely see the quilting. It just kind of sinks in all over the place. What I did was I took the shapes of the flowers, and there's ferns in there. There's some other shaped flowers in the border here, and I just used those for my quilting design. So I just kind of, eyeballed them and used those shapes. And there's some paisleys and some feathers, and so it's just kind of an all-over mishmash of stuff. This is the backing fabric, also a Liberty fabric, and it is just wonderful, yummy, and I would love to have a quilt with just this in it. Well, not just this, but with this as the main focal fabric. And I've ended up with a couple of BQ quilts, like the BQ3, and well, I think they're both BQ3s. So that's the BQ3 pattern by Maple Island Designs, and they let you cut big squares of your feature fabric so that you get the full effect. And it's just stunning. And if you take a look here, this is really nothing more than a big square of the feature fabric, and then the sashing is 2 strips sewn together, and then the cornerstones are 4 patches made of those 2 strips. So you don't need a pattern for that. You decide what size this is, that'll decide what size these get to be, and you can make these bigger or smaller, whatever you choose. And then once you choose to decide that these are going to be cut 2.5 inches, you cut these 2.5 inches. And Bob's your uncle. There you go. You got a quilt in beautiful design. How's that? It's not that hard. It is really nice to have a pattern so you don't have to think about it too much. So that seems to be my downfall when I have to think about it. So anyway, that's all I have for you today, with the exception of Yesterday, with the COVID-19 restrictions were tightened in BC, so effective today, all indoor spaces you have to wear a mask. And I have been, when people have come to drop off and pick up their quilts, we've all worn our masks probably 95% of the time. So I'm just gonna lay it out there. It's gonna be 100% of the time now. So I don't know if you are aware, but when you come and drop off, when I know you're coming to drop off your quilt, I go out and I wipe down the railings and the door handles and anything that you might touch with alcohol before you get here. And after you leave, before anybody else comes, I do the same. So I'm doing my best to keep everybody safe and healthy. And, you know, in the spring when we were really locked down, we had the laundry basket on the chair out in the stairwell. And that's an option too. So if you are more comfortable with that, you can just let me know and I can put the basket out and we'll go with that. And, you know, at that point I was wiping the chair down with alcohol and the basket and the edge of your bag and, you know, doing my best there as well. And just to let you know too, you know, usually you get your quilt back in a big bag, and if you bring your quilt in that bag, that's your bag. I don't switch them, like share them around. Your name goes on it. You get your quilt back in it, and you know you're getting the same bag back and forth every time. So I hope that inspires confidence and makes everybody feel a little bit safer. We've all got to do what we've got to do. We have made the decision that we're not going to Calgary for Christmas. And that was a tough one, but we don't want to drive because of the roads. We don't want to get on a plane because of COVID. And we don't want to go there. And, you know, we've got a few households that we'd have to visit in order to, you know, see everybody and be fair, and we just don't feel that this is the right time to be doing that. So we're going to stay home for Christmas. We're going to hopefully have some video chats with everybody, and I'm thinking too, you know, yay me, I don't have to cook a big dinner and that kind of stuff. So hopefully it all does what it does to keep us in better shape here. Anyway, I will see you soon, and hopefully I'll have my Christmassy things. Maybe I'll sit down and do a video before I get them sent off, and that's got to be pretty soon. So yeah, see you in a week or two. I don't know. Right. Happy quilting, happy knitting, happy crafting, and take care of each other. Talk to you soon.